Alright, I'm back with another video here. It's kind of a little different video than what I'm used to shooting. I'm used to just shooting a video about me operating some Rare DX or um, operating a contest or something like that. I've been following Kyle, AA0Z, for a little while. Been looking at his Node-RED um, installations. I know he has a remote station, and I follow their ham radio Node-RED IO group, um, and I've learned a lot. I don't really operate remote much, but I can remote desktop into my machine, and of course turn the 7300 on. I can if the rotor is turned on, I can control it. I have an older, it's probably 10 years old, but an old TA4TX board that hooks to an LPT port on the computer. I'm controlling it. I'll switch over here to this other monitor. I am controlling the rotor through the EA4TX program here, and it links to my Ham Radio Deluxe rotor. So, if I want to move the rotor, I can, as long as it's on. The only thing that I have not been able to do so far remotely is switch antennas. Now, I do have, if you notice my tower in my intro videos, the tower is about 75 feet away from the house, and I do have a remote antenna switch there. I actually bought it off of eBay from the Ukraine a couple of years ago. I think in 2021 I bought it from there. It's a 1 in and 4 out. This is a picture of it. It's not a very good picture, but some of you may have seen these. It's just a control cable, 12 volt. Each of the relays, you power each one of them up to switch antennas or select the different antennas. So I've got that, and then I have a rotor, or a rotary knob type button here, switch to switch between the antennas. Here in my shack, I've got a little antenna. That rotary style switch is over here, built into my desk, and I can turn or change to a different antenna. So that works, right? But I'm looking at more remote control. I don't really have a reason to operate remote, but hey, if I want to, from the recliner, I guess I could. So I've been, fooling around a little bit with Node-RED after following Kyle and the folks that on the ham radio, Node-RED ham radio IO group. This is Node-RED. If you've never seen Node-RED before, let's the actual Node-RED programming interface looks like this. There is a ton of videos on YouTube with dealing with Node-RED. You can create nice custom dashboards. If you've seen any of my other videos, you saw that whenever I actually made contact with someone, my Ham Radio Deluxe sends UDP packets with the QRZ information to Raspberry Pi, which Node-RED is loaded onto, and it plots position to whoever I just talked to, and logged in the logbook. So that works. I've kind of been working on a streaming dashboard here to connect to my 7300, little place here to put my camera. So I'm working on this. I think the reason that this 7300 is not showing up right now on the dashboard is because of a firewall issue on the computer. I think when I started playing with it, I disabled the firewall because Node-RED actually has to communicate with Ham Radio Deluxe for that to happen. Okay, so this video is not really about that, but I'm just kind of trying to show you a little bit about Node-RED, what you can do. The Raspberry Pi, I can reboot it, shut it down. Just any kind of, I've been fooling with a little test button here. But back to what the video is about. It's about controlling the antenna switch. Kyle and the other guys on the IO group, there are a lot of different switches that they're using. And hey, that's wonderful. You can buy it commercially. I think I paid about $50 for that antenna switch. And if you look on eBay, you can probably find some of these antenna switches in kit form, and you can build your own for 25 or 30 bucks. So that you can do it cheaper than buying a $200 antenna switch or more. So I have the antenna switch at the base of the tower. I've got a control cable out there, and right now I'm switching it with a manual switch. Well, a few weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, I came across these little boards. They are they're built, I guess, on the Arduino type platform. They're little microcontroller boards. They're ESP32s. Okay, so this is one of them right here. They have Wi-Fi built onto them. They have a lot of little I/O pins on the back, so you can hook up, all kinds of inputs and outputs to them, just like a Raspberry Pi. However, these only cost $6. Raspberry Pis have went up. They're over $100 now in most markets because of the chips. Well, this board here, not the one with the relays on it. I'll get to that in a second. But this little board here connected to this USB, and you can power it from USB. You can power it from 5 volts off of one of the pins. You can power it several different ways. But this board costs around $6 to $7. Okay. I got these to do a little bit of work with on my job. I work in the security business and home automation and things like that. So I got some of these to try out. And I thought, since Kyle and them have been controlling other things, I thought about trying to control this. This other board here is a Sane Smart 8-channel relay board. If you notice, all the LEDs are lit up on it. Whenever this board receives a high signal, it turns off the relay. If it's receiving low, 0 volts, it's on, which is backwards to what I want to do. So I'm going to build my own board to do this with. The stuff should be arriving today. So anyway, I want to get into this right here. This is an ESP32. It's $6 or $7. You download the Arduino software. You can download the Arduino IDE software here, and you can use this software to write the program that you load into the ESP32. Once you load the ESP32 up with your program, if you write all your code right and it's not buggy, then it will just continue to run. If you know anything about Arduinos, it's real simple to write code. It's kind of similar to C++, and you can go through and write up a little program. What I've done is I've read a lot about this. Some of this is my code, some of it's a borrowed code from some other guys. But what it essentially does is the ESP32, when it boots up, my program says connect to my Wi-Fi. It connects to Wi-Fi, then it connects to an MQTT. If you know anything about machine language or don't, I'll kind of give you a little rundown. MQTT is a machine language, or it's a machine protocol, I should say, machine protocol that you can use to send and receive messages from machines. Okay, so essentially the ESP32 subscribes to what they call a MQTT broker. It's kind of a server. The MQTT broker that I'm using is an open source broker called Mosquito. That's also loaded on my Raspberry Pi that my Node-RED runs on. So I have the broker installed, and on my in my Arduino code here, this little ESP32 code is set up to come online, connect to Wi-Fi, connect to the MQTT, and subscribe to a topic. And the topic is how that your machines talk to one another. So my topic here is going to be ESP32/ANTSW for antenna switch. So the ESP32 comes online. It's waiting for some commands from the MQTT broker. I have got a, let's see if I can show you this. This is MQTTX. This is a client for MQTT, for an MQTT broker. And I've already connected to it, so I'm going to clear my history on that. So you see I've subscribed to this ESP32 antenna switch. If I initialize the ESP32, if I initialize this, I just initialized it, it's already back, okay? I killed power to it, and in what, 5 seconds? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. In 3 seconds. In 3 seconds, it's back online, okay? And it's sending, it's subscribing to the broker, to the topic of ESP32 antenna switch. It's subscribing to those messages. So now it's sitting here waiting for a command. If I type in, if I go here and I type in, it's pin 4 on. If I type in 4 on and I click, let's go back to the camera. Okay, so if you notice in my window and you notice my relays here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these lights mean off. Okay, so the LEDs right now, that means off. Everything is off. All right, so in my MQTTX, now you don't have to have this. This is just good to use for debugging and things like that. We're not even messing with Node-RED yet at all. So 4 on. If this ESP32 board receives that, it turns pin 4 on. Okay, which I know it's confusing. This relay board will not be used for this project. If I go back in here and type in 4 off, send that across the network, it sends it to the ESP32 and cuts that switch off, or that relay off. You also notice that it's getting there's another message that's happening here. I'm sending 4 off to the ESP32, and it's telling me, it's sending me a message back saying status 4 is off. Okay, now that's I'll show you why I did that here in a few seconds. So this is the code. If you look at it, it's real simple. If ESP32 antenna switch, if it receives a message on this topic, and that message is 19, which is the pin on the ESP32, pin 19. If it receives a signal 19 on, then it writes to that pin, makes it high, and then after it makes it high, it publishes back to the MQTT broker, the Mosquito server. It publishes back to that and says status 19 on. Okay, now I'm going to show you the reason that I did that, because, let's see here, if I go back to this. Okay, so this is my Node-RED, and there's a ton of videos about Node-RED on the web. AA0Z Kyle is a great Node-RED enthusiast, and there's some other hams that I've been looking at too, but I watch a lot of Kyle's videos dealing with this. But if you go to Node-RED, this is the programming interface right here. Let's see, this is my, okay, so this is my control. So this is the dashboard. This is the pretty stuff. And then this is the back end that makes it all work. So this is my, what they call a flow. This big mess right here is a flow for this little control panel. All right, so whenever I click the 10 meter, 15, 20 meter TA33 Junior, that's my 3-element tri-band beam, I click the button for that. Okay, it sends a MQTT message across the network to the broker. The ESP32 picks up the message, and it turns on the relay for antenna 1. I'll switch back over to the camera. Okay, so you notice that this top LED, if you can see where my finger's at, that top LED right there is off. Okay, now if I come back in here and say antenna switch off, okay, see the LED lit up. That means that antenna switch number 1, or antenna selection number 1, is off. Okay, so if I go 20 meters, 75 meters, 160 meters, 6-meter beam, go back to 75. Okay, notice the relays are, or the LEDs are changing here on the relay board. All right, turn them all off. Everything is in the off position. All right, now if you remember me mentioning in this debug tool, MQTTX, if you remember in here, I'm sending, whenever I send a signal, so if I, let's see, move this around a little bit, different monitors here is confusing me, but if I send 20 meters on, I've got to do this, don't I? Okay, so if I turn 20 meters on, or if I turn 75 meters on, it's sending a lot of commands here. If you notice in the window, there's a lot of commands happening. And the reason that is because in my flow, in my Node-RED flow, every time that a button is pushed, it sends the command first, all off. Okay, all off. It turns every one of these relays off. Then it waits 0.25 seconds and sends to the MQTT connection. It sends the command on. Then the ESP32 board right here in my hand, it sends back a message, and the Node-RED picks it up here on the MQTT client connection. It goes through a little switch, meaning that, let me show you here. If status 4, if it receives status 4, it goes to the 1 position, status 5 on, status 18 on, and it will go through the rules that it needs. To this actually is what changes the background color of the switch, or the selection here, the button. So if I hit 160 meters, okay, if I hit the 6-meter beam, it sends on the MQTTX to the broker. It sends, if I hit 6 meters, it sends, I think it's 20. It sends 20 on, or first it sends 4 off, 5 off, 18 off, 19 off. Yeah, 4, 5, 18, and 19 off. Then it turns 19 on, which you notice right here. Okay. Then it sends back, the ESP32 board sends back status 19 is on. All right. So when Node-RED sees 19 on, status 19 on, it changes the color. These are the rules here. So whenever it sees status 5 on, it changes the color to the green color that you see on the dashboard, and it also sends it to the message.background, and it goes to the button and that's how the background changes. Turn the switch off, light goes out. 7540, lights on. The other thing was that I wanted a way, the only other uh, thing that I don't have control of. Now, I have an amplifier too, but I'm not really worried about it. It's a tube type amp, and I need to be here to tune it anyway. But I wanted to be able to turn my rotor control box on, and I have some 120 volt digital logger boards coming next week, and I hope to play around with that just a little bit. It's going to be connected as well to the ESP32 board, and we'll be able to turn the rotor box on and off. So that's what this button right here is for. I click it, of course. You can look at the board here if you can see that. Let's see here. Fingers out of the way. Okay, so okay, see that? Flip back on and off. Okay, I'm going to change this to a button as well, and it's going to light up green when the rotor box is on. So anyway, it's a neat project that I'm working on, and appreciate Kyle AA0Z. Check out his YouTube page. He's got tons and tons of videos on there explaining Node-RED, and I hope I haven't confused you. I hope I've said something to make you want to go out and test the waters a little bit with some of this control stuff. It's pretty neat. They operate remotely. They have stations. They live in urban areas, and they have stations that are out in rural areas. I live in a rural area here, so my station is here at the house. But I do like to have a little bit of control if I am away from the house. So anyway, that's that. Maybe you will be able to look at some of my other videos. Most of them are boring. Just me making some contacts. Maybe you're one of the contacts that I've made, and you can go and listen to your audio here as I recorded it. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching, and subscribe to my video. This is something that I do as a hobby, and I just wanted to share it to some of our local club guys. I thought they might want to see some of the neat things that I've been doing with this, and that's all I'm doing. So if you've got any information for me, any you'd like to contact me, my call sign K4MDI@arrl.net is a great place to contact me, and I'll look for you again down the log 73.